I I had a debate. You know, the worst part. The worst part is, and I'm going to show you guys this. I have it right on my screen. See that? And I still forget. So, today, TJ Oshie, this is my Oshie jersey. Oshie hit the jackpot. He gets an 8-year, $46 million contract. I like Oshie, as evidenced by the fact that I bought a TJ Oshie jersey. And there were other Blues players I could have picked jerseys of, and I'm like, no, I like Oshie. And I like what he does for Washington, and certainly in shootouts, TJ Oshie is very, very good. And I get that Washington wants to continue what they've started. But, wow. TJ Oshie will be 38 when this contract is up. And I'm not sure that $5.75 million in cap is going to look good for him 3 years from now, much less 8. And I like what he brings, and I get what they did. This is one of those contracts that you sign at the time, like you can't afford to lose everybody. Washington's already losing Alsner, losing Shattenkirk, and adding Oshie, it means this team goes from President's Trophy to potential rebuild. Because who else do you sign? So they've got this cap that's going to be tricky to get around. So you have Oshie signed for, I guess, below market value. I mean, the cap hit, I don't know. Would he have got a 3-year deal for $21 million somewhere? Maybe. You guys can let me know what you think in that little comment section down there. But 8 years? 8 years is the term. 8 years is crazy. 8 years you might give to a big star player. I don't qualify Oshie in that category. He's a good player. He's useful. He's useful to Washington now. You could argue the cap hit. If he'd signed a 2-year, $11.5 million contract, I'd be saying good signing for Washington. But 8 years? It's tough to find guys who are 35 and older who are still productive as they were in their early 30s or late 20s. This contract for Oshie is going to look bad, I'm saying, by year 4. And this is from a guy who likes Oshie. The Caps are going to need to do a lot of work. They've lost Nate Schmidt. They're likely losing Shattenkirk and Alsner. Oshie stops the bleeding up front. But that blue line, it's rough. And the other problem for Washington, and this is where Caps fans and Canuck fans can feel sort of in sync on this. When you're keeping your team together to avoid falling back, it feels a lot like falling back. When it's been proven that this core can't win a Stanley Cup, when it's been proven that this team, as it's built, as it's constituted, can't win a Stanley Cup, and your GM is putting a lot of money into making sure that team stays together, it's frustrating. Regular season records, they don't matter. As a Canuck fan, I can tell you they don't matter. It's nice, it's fine. Oh, they won a President's Trophy, they won 2, fine. And I'm talking about the Canucks. For the Caps, it's 3. Those don't matter. And a team can only stay in that position for so long before erosion starts to take place. Oshie's contract is an anchor at some point. And to me, it feels like a panic signing. We can't lose everybody. We have to keep Oshie. Oshie wants to stay in Washington. He's been clear about that. I'm guessing that other teams were anxious to get him, or at least talk to him, and he didn't want to go on the free agent market. And an 8-year contract will keep a guy off the free agent market. But I do sort of wonder to myself what exactly the Capitals are doing. Because now they have very little money to sign quite a few players to fill a roster. The Capitals at this rate are going to have a hard time icing a competitive hockey team come October. They're going to need some guys on cheap contracts who are useful, or you're looking at a situation where the team falls way back next year. You got to figure Carolina's going to be better. Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh. The Rangers are doing their best to stay above water. The Islanders, I think, are going to make a big push because they don't want Tavares to become disenfranchised with the team and want to move on. It's very easy to see that Washington, if they lose the depth on the blue line and they can't afford to bring in the kind of depth guys they need to compete with other teams, and if they're top heavy up front, so they only have 2 good lines up front, the other 2 lines are kind of a mishmash, this team could fall back and miss the playoffs. Columbus easily would pass them if that blue line fades. So, you know, it's a delicate balance Washington's trying to find, and I don't think this contract is helping them. If he's going to take an 8-year deal, fine, but $5.75 million cap is high. And again, I am a fan of TJ Oshie. I think he is a big game player. I think he's a guy who can score key goals at key times. I liked him in St. Louis. I like him in Washington. But I think this contract is problematic now and potentially disastrous 4 years beyond now. As a GM, it's important to win now, and that's the Washington motto. Clearly, they want to win now, probably at the expense of the future. They're not on this board. They didn't draft anybody today. The draft pick they would have had ended up going to Philly. Philly drafted Morgan Frost. Could have been a Capital. In fact, the Capitals, if they hadn't traded that draft pick, could have got Tolvanen. They could have got Kostin, which would have fit in with all the other Russian players they have. They could have drafted Ratcliffe, Haig, Lind, or Comtois. Any of them could have been a Washington prospect right now. So, the Capitals, because of where they finish in the standings, it's easy to say, well, they don't really need to worry about it. But when Vancouver crashed, it was straight off a cliff. It can happen to Washington, too. It can. And I know Capitals fans aren't going to be happy with hearing me say it. And I like the Capitals. And, you know, I mentioned I have 3 of their jerseys, but I think I have 3 of every team's jersey right now. So it's really not a measurement of whether or not I like a team. But I do. I do wish Washington well. I just don't see how they get a roster together that is better than the one that failed against the Penguins this year. And that's really the key. They have to improve the roster. Treading water and losing some players along the way doesn't help. I hope I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong in the comment section below. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing around the internet and you just came upon this video. And I will be discussing plenty of things over the next 2.5 weeks. And I want to discuss it with all of you guys. So let me know what you think. And I'll talk to you again tomorrow. I will be discussing other contracts tomorrow. There's going to be plenty of things to talk about. I will be up early to look at the draft and see who's gone where. and we will discuss potential steals on day 2 of the draft, the same as I did last year. So thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.